Greetings, everyone. My name is Louis, and I'm the moderator of the Lou's Health and Wellness Ministry Education, which sprung up out of the Faith Fellowship Church in Coventry, Rhode Island. And I'm delighted to have you guests here today for this presentation. And I'd like to start with a short little word of prayer. And we'll just say the serenity prayer because that's a very non-doctrinal type prayer and anybody can relate to it. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So, like I said, this sprung up out of the Faith Fellowship Church in Coventry. I am Catholic, more like a Catholic charismatic, so to speak, and I feel as though I can attend both churches if I choose to, both the Catholic Church and Faith Fellowship, because even John F. Kennedy attended both the Protestant and the Catholic churches. So, not being a nation of privilege, I guess we can go and practice our faith wherever we choose to. So with that, I want to start off by saying a lot that has molded me is my faith in God. And what I want to say is we all make mistakes in this world, and something that kept me in a survival mode, so to speak, despite the adversity that I was presented with in my life, is this reading that I found in the Wall Street Journal, dating back many years. I think it was back in 1986, it was published by the United Technologies Corporation. Don't be afraid to fail. And this is the write-up that was in the Wall Street Journal by United Technologies Corporation. You failed many times, although you may not remember. You fell down the first time you tried to walk. You almost drowned the first time you tried to swim, didn't you? Did you hit the ball the first time you swung a bat? Heavy hitters, the ones who hit the most home runs, also strike out a lot. R.H. Macy failed 7 times before his store in New York caught on. English novelist John Creasy got 753 rejection slips before he published 564 books. Babe Ruth struck out 1,330 times, but he also hit 714 home runs. Don't worry about failure. Worry about the chances you miss when you don't even try. So I have one of those for everyone in the audience, and feel free to take one if you'd like.
Thank you.
And so we're all presented with adversity in our lives at some various times or various events in our life. There's always adversity. I picked up a basic Bible tract at Faith Fellowship Church one day when I was visiting there. And there was a statement in there his last name was Doherty. And I saw this statement in there, and it really clicked in my head and my soul, so to speak. It said, if you continually nurse and rehearse your scars and wounds, the mistreatment you have received and how you were belittled and forgotten, you will be bound by those scars and snared by your own words. And it's so true, you know. We live in a world where, you know, we're not always presented with the best cards, you know, and you have to deal the hand that you were dealt. And my discussion today is going to be on happiness, deficiency, and the fact that joy is your birthright. And on the topic of happiness deficiency, what does it do to your health? And that's what I'm going to discuss right now. So we know that we try to practice good health practices. We try to avoid processed foods. We try to avoid saturated fat and refined sugars and the like. We try to stick to a whole foods diet. And we try to get at least 7 hours a night sleep, at least at a minimum. We exercise. We try to feel happy every day. But if we're not feeling happy, right, every day? What does it do physiologically, and what does it do to our health, all right? So the effect of happiness on longevity is remarkably strong. So according to the Journal of Happiness Studies, in one study, the researchers from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and the University of Colorado at Boulder analyzed 30 years of health data and found that people who were not happy had more than double the risk of death during the study period compared to the very happy people. And I have a person in the audience that makes me so joyous when I see her because I like her laugh. She's got a wonderful laugh, and she's always got a lot of joy and happiness in her life. So in a similar study, researchers at the Department of Psychology at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh reviewed a decade of research on emotions and health, noting that depression, anger, and anxiety have long been linked to an increased risk of death, disease, and death. And the researchers decided to look at the effect of positive emotions on health, whether or not people who were consistently joyous, enthusiastic, calm, content were healthier. And they found that's exactly true. They were all those things. So these people that were joyous and happy, calm, content, and a lot healthier and enthusiastic, they had less pain, fewer symptoms of disease, fewer hospitalizations, and fewer injuries. They lived longer, and if they developed a chronic disease, such as heart disease, they lived longer in general and even caught fewer colds. We need to take seriously the possibility that positive emotions are a major player in disease risk, said Sheldon Cohen, PhD, the study leader and a professor in the Department of Psychology at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. I'd like to welcome another guest to our audience. Thank you. So what we want to do is we're having a discussion on happiness, joy, and happiness deficiency, and how happiness actually brings about a better health. And that's what our topic is today for a new member of our audience. And you can actually give her one of those.
I did.
Oh, that's wonderful. All right. So one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is putting the blame on somebody. And it's really damaging to the person that's doing that. So when you constantly ruminate on putting the blame on somebody, many of us are victimized in some ways or some fashion. We are victimized at times. We do face adversity and what have you. But it doesn't do us any good if we place the blame on someone, because really those feelings are actually being directed at yourself more so, especially when you experience anger. Anger is something that does more damage to you than it does to the person that you're angry at. And if these people, your so-called enemies, knew exactly how much free space they're occupying in your head with this anger, they'd be happy about it. So the best thing I can do to alleviate anger in my life is to realize that I don't need to project this upon myself. I don't need to bring these bad feelings to myself. Physiologically, it brings about bad health conditions. It's better to be happy. Just look at children. They don't experience anger and everything like that. They might, cry and stuff like that, but their minds are free. They're free from being told anything or anything like that at a young age. They're just joyous and happy young children. Babies are always happy. It's wonderful to see a baby smile. So many people today recognize that human beings are more than our limited bodies and occupations of daily life. Many spiritual traditions teach that a human being is essentially a soul, and the desire of the soul is to fully experience its innate natural happiness and joy. when you align, when you alignment with the soul and its desire for happiness, you feel good. When you aren't, you feel bad. It's that simple. And the implications are enormous. So say you don't believe in a soul, for example. Say you don't believe in that. Just look at the quote that Abraham Lincoln gave us. All right, Abraham Lincoln experienced bouts of depression at various times. He, if you read his biography about him, you would know that he was somewhat manic depressive. And a quote by Abraham Lincoln one time said, "People are about as happy as they make up their minds to be. The mind is a place of its own, and in itself, it can make a heaven into hell or hell into heaven." And I think that's a wonderful quote that we can actually go to and take a direction into what does the Bible say about happiness and joy. There's numerous scriptures on happiness and joy and how God wants us to be happy. And he actually not only has happiness and joy, but there's also scriptures on prosperity. And there's so many promises that God makes us in the Bible that really enhances our well-being in life. And I just started out, I've been going to this faith fellowship. Like I said in the beginning, I go to the Catholic Church and faith fellowship. And so they actually wanted their members to read the one-year Bible. And I've been reading that with a friend of mine. You know, we get on the phone and we read the one-year Bible. We got a version, we got two copies of this version that we like. And we're reading it back and forth to each other. It takes about 20 minutes to a half hour to do a day. And we'll be able to read the whole Bible in 1 year. And it's something that we have been encouraged to do because that's what the pastor of that church over here across from the post office actually recommended that to us. So so I pulled this up before. All right. So now, okay. All right. So, yeah, I didn't pull it up. So anyway, getting back to the topic of joy and happiness and blame, and how blame actually, when you blame another person for something, you're actually projecting your own self-blame at them. All right? And you're a procrastinator and you blame others for being late. You're sloppy and you blame others for not cleaning up, and on and on. And when you stop blaming others, you also begin to, all right, so when you stop blaming others, you also begin to end and to heal your harsh self-blaming. So when the Chinese have an old saying, when I am pointing a finger at you, at one finger at you, I am pointing at myself with 3 fingers. All right? Try it, and you'll see that it's true. When you so when you blame somebody, you visualize pointing at them, and remember you're really pointing at yourself. That's what it's getting at. So if you were to create a journal, like a blame journal, all right? In that journal, you keep a journal of the qualities you blame others for. Do you frequently find others to be selfish, greedy, vain, etc.? If so, the qualities you most often dislike in others probably reflect the qualities you unconsciously most disliked in yourself. So, and as you keep this journal, you might say to yourself that these definitely aren't the qualities that you demonstrate in life. That's probably because your behavior overemphasizes the opposites. so that the dislike qualities stay unconscious. In other words, you're selfish. You try to be generous, so you try to be generous. And if you're vain, you try to be humble. Nevertheless, you persist in this exercise, you will discover that both qualities, selfishness and generosity, vanity and humility, are within you. And in time, you'll accept both. So sometimes we just have to accept ourselves the way we are, too. You know, we all have a certain level of things that we might have been taught or at a young age, and we learned things that might not have been the best beneficial things. We might have faced adversity in our own family lives in some way or some fashion. And these things sort of like become part of us. And we need to break the habit of blame, is what it comes down to. And blame isn't a big deal. It's a mental mirage. It's imagination. It's nothing more than an old habit. When you catch yourself placing the blame game, remember that it is a habit you have chosen to break. Instead of from a centered place, continually and repeatedly drop the blame in mid-thought and shift your attention to something that feels good. So children, I want to talk about them. All right? So I did talk about them, about a child, how happy they are and everything like that. But it's a wonderful thing to see a child happy, isn't it? Isn't it a wonderful thing to see them happy? It's wonderful to see everybody happy if we can, you know? And so I want to go to this handout over here. This is something that motivated me throughout the adversity that I might have faced in my life that I don't want to, disclose, because I'm just bringing it upon myself by talking about that, and it's not necessary for me to do. So, bless you. So this here is something that was printed in the Kent County Daily Times. Some of this quote is part of Calvin Coolidge. Some of it is part of this woman who wrote this, who was kind of like a writer and an author in West Warwick, and her name is Carolyn D. Tanacor, a former West Warwick resident, as published in the Kent County Daily Times in 1982, and she was the mother of my old friend Go Davis. Press on, nothing in the world. The title of this is Perseverance. So it's important to persevere through whatever you're going through in life. Press on, nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education alone will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. It is a fact that more people have given up the game on the goal line simply because they didn't know they were there than at any other point on the field. Just one more try, one more bit of stubborn determination could have carried them on to success. Why didn't they know? First, they didn't fully understand that what they were doing. And second, they lacked the confidence that knowledge would have given them. It takes all three to make a dream into reality. The person who perseveres is destined to succeed. Talent, genius, education, and even money are worthless without it. Only personal dedication to a goal by a self-assured person will do it. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going sums it up. If this sounds a lot of simplified hogwash or a Sunday school sermon, you're missing the point. The most difficult things to accomplish are most often the most simple to comprehend. Becoming successful in the field you have chosen is simple to understand, but not simple to do. And only by really meaning to do it will you do it. So I chose to be somewhat of a health minister. Why did I choose this field, or why am I doing this today? I wanted, deliver a message to people in the audience and also people here online in a manner that's pleasing to God and also helpful to the audience. And I think that there's things that have molded me in different ways and fashions throughout my life. And if I did not have a faith in God, I probably would not have survived that. And I think that's something that really is a part of my life to express. So we got about 20 minutes into this video. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And there's numerous scriptures in the Bible on joy and happiness. You can just look them up on Google. And I couldn't get them at the time. I would have read a couple of them. But I want to thank everybody for coming here today. And until next time, we might have some t-shirts printed. I got a little t-shirt here right now for this Loose Health and Wellness Ministry education. And we may actually upload these videos onto another YouTube channel that's specifically geared towards health and wellness. And I know that the metric data will actually transfer over to the new channel. And anybody that has subscribed, I will post this on the old channel, and anybody that's subscribed on the new channel, on the old channel, can subscribe on the new channel. And I do encourage you to subscribe to the channel. It does not cost anything to do. You just press the subscribe button, and when the new feed is created, it will go to you on your phone. So thanks again. Until next time. God's blessings to you. Bye-bye.